All right, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for being here at the March 2025 Business Connect call. We're very excited to continue hosting these. We did start these about a year ago, and they've been very successful. We average a great turnout. It ranges on the topics, but we're very excited to have a great speaker this morning. But before I get into all that jazz and all the stuff we have to offer this morning, I do want to pass it over to our City of Hemet Mayor Jackie Peterson, who has joined us this morning to say some welcoming remarks and anything that she would like to add. We've been very busy, so I'm sure she has quite a few items to add. Mayor?
Busy is an what is it? It's an understatement, underestimate, whatever. My mind is so boggled after yesterday. I was all over the place. There is so much going on in Hemet now, and people say there's nothing to do, there's nothing going on. Well, I'm telling you, we had such a great day yesterday. We had the grand opening of Vallarta, and I don't know if there were thousands, but there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people out there. And it was a great event, a great family business that has grown. And we are lucky enough to have them in Hemet. And from there, our community solutions coordinator and I went out to Marietta for a homeless regional meeting. And we got some good information and contacts on what people are doing in the region. And from there, we did an Adopt a Street. We've increased that exponentially since last year. Then Ben and I did a promotional video for Hemet Beautiful coming up on April 26th, and maybe I'll get to say something in the end on that. And then Ramona Bowl had a wonderful Chamber of Commerce mixer last night up at the Bowl, and maybe Kevin can talk to that a little bit later too. So we had a full day, and I'm telling you, Hemet is rising.
Mayor, I couldn't have said it better myself. This whole year, we know it's been started in January, but these 3 months has been nonstop, and we look forward to seeing what the next quarter has in store. Thank you, Mayor, on that one. We do also have the Executive Director of the Hemet San Jacinto Chamber of Commerce, Kevin Saunders, to say anything that's coming up with the chamber. I know there was a great event last night. Kevin and Mia Copa couldn't make it, but from the mayor's remarks, it sounded like it was a hit. Can you please touch on that?
Absolutely, Ben. It was a hit, and thank you, Mayor Jackie, for showing up there. It was a lot of fun. As someone counted 100, I saw about 80 or so. So it was a full house, lots of fun. They did a performance, of course. We honored a lot of businesses, at least 5 of them. So we had a great time. Thank you so much for attending that again, Mayor Jackie Peterson. So I do have a few things, Ben, if I could just start really quickly here.
Of course.
Today we have a ribbon cutting at Bob Nahore, the law offices of Bob Nahore. That's at 1600 Florida Avenue. It's in the same building as the HCN Bank. That's at 12 p.m. So if you'd love to come out and celebrate a new member, please come and join us there. Then we have another ribbon cutting on Saturday. Very rare that we have it on Saturday, but there is one at St. John's Medical Facility. That address I don't have, but it's in the same shopping center as the Walmart shopping center down San Jacinto, in San Jacinto here. That's at 11:30. And then on April 1st, it's noteworthy of saying that we have another paint night, April 1st at Samoba Springs Golf Course. 4:30 the doors open up. Of course, they'll have all the goodies that you would expect at a paint night. So come partake in that. It's going to be April 1st, 2025. As Mayor Jackie said, Hemet's on the rise. There's so much to do out here. So get involved.
Thank you, Kevin. Always a pleasure. The City of Hemet collaborating with the Hemet San Jacinto Chamber of Commerce. When the chamber is strong, the city's strong. So it's a great collaboration. So, Kevin, always a pleasure working with you, my friend, and the chamber. You're doing some good work out there. Thank you. Before we get started too, and I give a couple updates on my end. I know we have an amazing guest speaker. We do also have Legacy Bank with us, Cindy Limke, a great friend of the city. Any updates on your behalf, Cindy, that on Legacy's Bank happening this time around?
Well, we're always staying busy trying to support the community. Kevin, we're excited to support you and very excited to see all the great things that are going on with all these ribbon cuttings. I'll see you this afternoon. continue the great job with all these ribbon cuttings. We're very excited to see that happening. And just keep doing what you're doing. And if there's anything we can do to support with financial literacy and building capital and creating financial support, and you're helping with your banking needs, we want to be the one to help you. So thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Cindy. And again, a great partner of the city of Hemet. Now, before we transition to our guest speaker, and again, we have a great program this morning for you. I do want to give a quick updates. We had the Economic Development Summit, the inaugural one this past Thursday, and it was a great innovation, some amazing reoccurring themes. But one thing, since this is recorded and we do have people that watch this later, I do want to mention that there was a theme that I like to hear from Riverside County, that high wages are in and the lower wages are leaving our county, which our neighbors to the north are experiencing the complete opposite. So that's a testament that Riverside County is innovative. We have a lot of great innovation happening, sectors, high growth sectors, and we're getting into the biosciences, advanced manufacturing. Our partners out at Southwest cities are doing some great work. So we want to make sure that we're not left behind that train. So we are investing in our city and a lot of stuff happening. As the mayor mentioned, we had a Vallarta market. Some say hundreds, some said thousands. I even heard of someone say 1 million people yesterday. The point being is we had a lot of people and it was jam-packed. It felt like it was a Coachella music festival out there, shoulder to shoulder. We even had the music and the festivities. So if you haven't been there, definitely check that out.
Hey,
and
Dan,
I also, yes, Mayor.
Dan, I want to just say a fun little comment about that. So
Yes.
yesterday they gave away 300 free bags of groceries, and people were lined up well in advance of their opening. And the comment was, there were so many people here, the line went out to Menifee.
I did hear that, actually. That's so funny you said that. And good point on that one, Mayor. I think that our friends did call us and said great work, on the line there. We do have our inaugural fast-paced competition happening. We're very excited about that happening here coming up April 15th of next month. If there's any entrepreneurs that want to pitch and have the opportunity to win $1,000, move on to the Riverside County Finals, win some capital there, and then move on to the World Cup for $1 million project. I mean, definitely start here, April 15th. You don't want to miss out. And last but not least, because I know we have so much happening here, Hemet AM is taking place. Also, ICSC Las Vegas, the city of Hemet is going to be very aggressive in tackling and bringing in those hospitality jobs and also great experiences. We do hear you, Hemet residents that comment on our Facebook feed, social media feeds, private messages. We want to bring the things that matter and keep you here in our city so we can curtail and eventually stop all of the leakages that we're getting. So without further ado, and we have some others, I have one more thing that I'm going to wait to the end to kind of break the news here. We do have an amazing guest speaker, great partner of the city of Hemet. I met Adam here about right around the time I started here 11 months ago. We had a nice conversation, kind of to get to know each other. So we're very excited to have Adam. And before we get our nice little chit chat started, I would like to say a few words about Adam. Adam is a senior public affairs manager for SoCal Gas, serving the Southwest Riverside County section. Before joining the company, Adam served as the government affairs manager for the San Manuel Band of Mission Indians, where he worked with tribal leadership and staff on a variety of Indian environmental, gaming, and local government affairs issues. Prior to his time with the tribe, Adam worked as a public relations consultant, helping secure the development of more than 4.5 billion. Wow, Adam, and 2 gigawatts of solar energy, natural gas, and home development projects. He holds a master's degree in journalism from Cal State Fullerton and a bachelor's degree in psychology from USC. Go Trojans! During this time in journalism, he was a business reporter and editor for several Inland Empire newspapers covering economic development, tourism, logistics, the wine industry, energy, transportation, and real estate development. And finishing up here, Adam Ebbington has been a resident of Temecula since April 1st, 1998. Definitely been there for a while. A lot of good wine out there. and lives in Temecula with his wife, Kristen, who has taught elementary school in Temecula School District for more than 25 years. Amazing. Their son Ian attends the University of Colorado Boulder. Heard they had a good football team this year. And their daughter, Maddie, who graduated UC Santa Barbara and who is working now as an artist in New York. Without further ado, Adam Emmington, welcome.
Well, thank you, Ben, and sorry about I should have given you the shorter version of the bio, but that's okay. I appreciate it. It just lets people know that I'm old.
No, yes.
Been around a while. First off, before I give my presentation, please indulge me in letting me opine. I've worked in 5 different counties among dozens of cities, and to see the turnaround that I've seen in Hemet in just the last year or so has been extraordinary. The city of Hemet should be, and the residents should be incredibly proud of the turnaround and what's going on there. This doesn't happen in every city. And the fact that the team there is really just making extraordinary strides is something that everybody who's a Hemet person should really be proud of. It is remarkable. That being said, I'm going to share my screen, and for those that have suffered through my previous presentations, it's a lot of people, so that's probably why we have the light turnout, is that I think those that are on are glutton for punishment. I'm going to share my screen, and let's see if I can make this thing work.
Perfect.
And give me just a minute, and hopefully you guys can see that. And we're going to just kind of go. This is a little different presentation than what folks may have seen before, where I focused a lot on technology. This is a bit of a mishmash on a couple things. First off, a little bit about SoCal Gas. We're huge. We go from Fresno to the Mexican border, from the ocean to the Colorado River. And with the exception of San Diego County, we cover most of Southern California. And our sister company, San Diego Gas and Electric, covers those guys down there. We have about 22 million customers. We have 100,000 miles of pipe. Really, we have about 7,000, almost 8,000 employees spread out. And we have little bases here and there to serve each community. The Hemet-San Jacinto Valley is served out of our Menifee base, which is near Eastern Municipal Water District. And we get out there pretty quickly and serve the community in a variety of ways. Moving on, we're really emphasizing safety, reliability, and affordability. And that is really going to be the theme. And so we'll just dive right into it. So on the road to safety. First off, you've heard it before, and there's a reason we say it, is to, of course, call 811 before you dig. This is really important, especially in the springtime where people are doing lots of home projects. And you never know, especially in older communities, Lake Elsinore, Hemet, some older communities, you never know where those pipes may have been because they were installed, decades ago. And so call us, or even the electric guys, the cable guys, they'll all say the same thing. Call 811. It's free. We get out there a day or two later. We assess everything, and it really provides peace of mind, but it also provides a lot of safety for our teams. And so we can't emphasize it enough, because if you call 811, it could save a life. If you ever have a leak, or you think you have a leak, look for any damaged connections. Listen to see if you hear any hissing sounds, and of course that trademark smell. If you smell that smell, you can always call 911, or you can call us. And I'm going to give you guys a number, and I'm going to repeat this number multiple times because it's the magic number for all things gas. And it really should be a number that everybody has in their phone, whether it's starting a new service for a new business, or it's turning off a business, shutting down a service, checking a bill. Our magic number is 800-427-2200. And really, that takes care of almost all your needs when you're dealing with SoCal Gas. You can always visit our website, which is socalgas.com, and it's a huge website, so it covers a lot of topics. But for safety purposes, even if there's ever a concern, I'm sorry, I always get these little pop-ups. If there's ever a safety concern and you're really concerned, you can always call 911, or just give us a call. To that end, just like the Golden Gate Bridge, they never stop painting it. We never stop checking our pipes. We never whether it's a device that goes inside. I'm going to show it real quick. This guy right here, which actually checks out the pipes from the inside. And I understand water districts and others with pipes do something similar to check out the health of the pipes from the inside out. But we also will fly helicopters and drones, and we usually will notify the cities ahead of time that, hey, there's going to be a helicopter or a drone that's going to go back and forth, kind of like in a mowing your lawn fashion, just to see if there might be a leak. And we have these visual spectrometers that are on our helicopters and drones, and we can actually see the leaks. And then we send a crew out and we go fix them. And so anyway, we always are checking. We're trying to be the cleanest, leak-free natural gas provider in the country. We are actually the largest natural gas provider in the country as it goes. So again, we're always trying to do improvements. Some of the things that will be coming to your city, for example, we are putting in sniffers, which are 16-foot pole with a little solar panel on top and a little device. And wherever we have a transmission line, we'll be installing at some point. It's going to be a while since we're so huge. These sniffers that can basically smell the natural gas and notify us downtown so that we can send out a crew. We'll also be starting to implement a smart grid, and this is happening all over the place, in which we're basically installing remote control valves. And the valves, you push a button, you can turn it, you can open the valve, close the valve. And not only will this provide an added layer of safety, but also efficiency. And if there's a higher demand in a certain area, it allows us to do it and respond more quickly. So real quick, anybody know where we get our gas? And don't say Los Tacos or Vallartas. We actually get it from mostly West Texas and East Albuquerque. There's a giant underground source that gets then piped out of that. We buy it on the open market through either contracts or through the open market. And then that gas goes along either large transmission pipes along the 40 freeway or on the 10 freeway. Now, when I say along, it's not on the freeway. It's just paralleling. But it goes through Blythe and then goes into Moreno Valley and then gets distributed out of there. So the gas that comes into Southern California, for example, down to San Diego, actually runs along pipes that go from Moreno Valley all the way down to San Diego through, of course, Moreno Valley, Paris, Menifee, Murrieta, Temecula, and up and over the Rainbow Gap. And so the Inland Empire is incredibly important for servicing natural gas throughout Southern California. Moving on, real quick, because Hemet and San Jacinto Valley has a lot of seniors, there are people who take advantage of this. And so wanted to let folks know, whenever you get in contact with somebody from the gas company or claiming that they're from the gas company, just remember, we don't ask you for money. We don't ever not come to your door and ask you for money. We don't try to sell you anything door to door. We don't call you. We do everything by paper, and we don't do it by email. We do it by paper. And if you have any questions whatsoever about whether or not somebody is legit, then give us a call at that, again, 1-800-427-2200 number, and we'll check it out. Because there are people who are bad actors who pretend they're from utilities, not just ours, but others as well. And we don't contact people directly in person. and we don't ask for money in person. Once in a great while, if there's a need to shut off gas in the area, and we show up, it's usually with a crew truck, and our guys are dressed, obviously looking like they're SoCal Gas, but they'll also have their IDs, and they'll be, the trucks are well marked and all that. That's a rare thing, but it does happen. So if you ever have that happen and you're not sure, again, give us a call. And I warn you guys, this was a bit of a mishmash. Normally I talk strictly about all the high-tech stuff, and we're going to get into that right now. So what are we doing for the future? Well, SoCal Gas is 150 years old, and you know, times change, and what we're putting in our pipes will eventually change. And the big word is, of course, hydrogen. So hydrogen is a relatively clean fuel. There's no carbon atom in it, and carbon, that C, is the bad guy. And we want to try to dilute hydrogen, or excuse me, our natural gas with as much hydrogen, which is the energy molecule, and get rid of the polluting carbon molecule. So we're making an effort to incorporate more renewable natural gas, as well as add more hydrogen to our system. And we are doing that by, give me just a second, guys, while I scroll up. We are, per our studies, we are adding renewable energy, renewable natural gas, and more hydrogen. And actually this slide is out of order, and I don't think we actually even need it. The point is, though, with this slide is that whether we incorporate more solar energy, wind energy, hydroelectric, or any other sources, natural gas is a great way to back up the system. You know, I've done personally, as my bio said, about 2 gigawatts of solar energy, and none of that solar energy works well at night. You kind of need the sun. So how do you make that energy at night? Well, if the wind's not blowing and the water's not flowing, you need turbines to be going. And so natural gas, and including, and I didn't mean that to flow, but I'm so going to use that in the future. Didn't mean that to rhyme. We will be, you know, still there, providing electricity through turbines with gas that we provide. So let me get into this. So hydrogen, it is used all over the world. It is used in a variety of capacities, whether it's electric or whatever, creating electricity, or directly in combustion, in cars or in trucks, or actually in electric turbines. And so there's a variety of uses, and it's happening all over the world. Actually, the United States is actually trailing Europe and Asia on the use of hydrogen. One state that's ahead of it all is, of all places, Hawaii. They've actually used about 25% of their natural gas has hydrogen injected into it. And so they've been well ahead of it, and they've been a great proving ground for this technology. And how's it going to be used? Well, first and foremost, in transportation. You're going to see hydrogen either being used in engines, in trucks, or you're going to see it where the hydrogen goes into a fuel cell, and the fuel cell creates electricity, and then the electricity then powers whatever the vehicle is. So instead of having a bunch of batteries that weigh, let's say, a truck down, you could have a hydrogen tank. That hydrogen tank runs the fuel cell. The fuel cell runs an electric truck, and that truck can go as far as it wants. It can fill up in just a short time, pretty much the same time it takes to fill it up with diesel, but instead hydrogen. And instead of filling up your truck with batteries, you can fill it up with goods, which is the whole point of having a big truck. This model exists. Actually, it's Sunline Bus Company down in the Palm Springs, Palm Desert area. They actually have hydrogen buses that basically run on a fuel cell. They're electric buses, but instead of charging up batteries, they use an onboard fuel cell. Now, this is important because essentially, if we can change our ships from diesel into hydrogen electric. Game changer. We breathe a lot of schmutz. That's a technical term, schmutz. And we breathe a lot of schmutz from the ports of Los Angeles, either the trucks or the diesel ships. If we can eliminate those two sources, regardless of global warming or man-made global warming, because some folks don't believe in all that, the reality is if we can replace those diesel vehicles with hydrogen vehicles, game changer. That means everybody's going to be breathing better, assuming that we can get to that point. This is a model house that we built. We took actually a modular house and we built it in Downey, and it runs on solar panels that take that electricity and we split water, H2O, high school chemistry. And we take that hydrogen, we store it in tanks, and then as needed, that hydrogen goes into a fuel cell and then powers the house. We also use some of that hydrogen to power the stove and the barbecue there. We do tours there. It's by reservation. You have to just let me know if you're interested. And it's pretty cool. It's a short tour, but it's pretty remarkable that this may someday be the wave of the future. You may see people coming to your door and selling solar, but instead of just selling solar, they may be selling fuel cells and battery packs. They may be selling hydrogen storage. The way we power our lives, our businesses, our cars, trucks, trains is going to be very different in the future. And it's very promising. Skipping ahead to this.
Adam, can I jump in there real quickly?
Sure.
I have a question on hydrogen, and I know that's been an ongoing subject for quite some time. I know there's a company here in the United States called Plug Power. They haven't seen able to really hit it home with hydrogen. As a matter of fact, they've lost like 80% of their value. I say that because I've heard hydrogen, but the infrastructure, the technology is probably there, but on a mass scale, I've heard maybe we're 30 years away, 20, some say 50 to 100. Where do you see hydrogen? And I have visited the Downey house myself when I worked in the Southeast LA region. I think it was 5 years ago when they built that house, or what an amazing feature. So with that being said, where do you see the future in regards to building hydrogen? Because we deal with developers, haven't really heard hydrogen just yet. What are your thoughts on that? On how far away are we? Are we from really a mass production of hydrogen?
This is Adam Evantov speaking. This isn't SoCal Gas. So to give you a time frame, we try not to as a company, but
Of course.
I feel like we are with hydrogen where we were with electric cars back in about 2000. And you remember the EV1, and it's like, hey, this is great technology. Where do I plug it in, right? Well, I mean, there are cars on the road and trucks on the road right now that are using hydrogen. The problem is that the infrastructure will have to grow. And to do that, you're really going to see it first in the transportation sector, where you're going to have fleet vehicles, where they're going to be, sort of on routes, like maybe not UPS or FedEx, but maybe your local carriers that are ferrying cargo from the ports to an inland warehouse and going back and forth. So you might see that in that sector first, and then as that hydrogen infrastructure starts to grow, you're going to start seeing more and more of this. It is in the offing. It is not going to happen tomorrow. This could be, could be 10 years. Our original thoughts were that you're going to see a lot more of this by about 2045, but it really depends on how quickly it's adopted. But the fact that it's adopted already in Europe, in fact, we're working on a project up in the Central Valley, in which we are proving to the state of California that yes, we can take solar, split water, and inject it into our pipes, and then dilute that carbon molecule. We're doing a proving project. We don't call it a test project, because this is off-the-shelf technology that already exists. It's a matter of implementing it and some of the regulatory hurdles in California that it takes to eventually get this in the field. So we'll get there. Hopefully within the next few years, we're going to start seeing some real progress as far as injecting that into our system. Of course, when you say hydrogen, you want to inject it in the system, but you also want to make sure you don't affect the performance of your stoves and your water heaters.
Yeah.
You want it to be seamless. And so those sort of things, and how much you can blend, how much hydrogen can you put into the system, I mean, is still something that is still being dialed in. So it's a few years for that part of it, but that's a major first step. And to that end, real quick, I just throw this slide up there. There's two kinds of hydrogen that people really talk about. One is drawing hydrogen out of natural gas, or you can even draw it out of fossil fuels. The state of California prefers green hydrogen, which is basically taking electrodes, putting it in water and splitting water. I don't know if you guys remember your high school chemistry stuff, but taking that and taking the hydrogen out of water. People will say, well, hey, we're in California. Why would you do that? We don't have any water. Well, the amount of water, it's about a flush per person per day. So the amount of water needed to create the hydrogen to power a home for the day is really rather small. It's somebody likened it to taking 2 golf courses offline. So it's not a lot, but it will have an impact. So if somebody would like more information about the actual amounts of water, I can dig that up. I apologize, I don't have that, but it is actually a relatively small amount for the state of California. So we're leaning towards green hydrogen whenever possible, but that has to be, again, dialed in. Again, electrolyzers, splitting water. I've already kind of talked to this slide. I've done presentations like this, and I still talk way ahead of my slides. So you would think I'd have this down by now. So anyway, so you are seeing it in the United States, but everywhere around the world. They're so much further ahead of us, and they're growing a lot faster in the use of hydrogen than we are. Getting to something that's a little closer to home, renewable natural gas. So why is this important? Because methane is a naturally occurring thing as plants and manure decompose, they emit methane. And to rein that in a little bit and avoid methane going just off into the atmosphere, if we can capture methane through either anaerobic digestion or a variety of ways, that means that that's methane that's not going into the atmosphere and it's being put to use. And that's actually technically carbon negative. And so we've worked with CR&R, which is a waste hauling company in the city of Paris. They actually have a giant tank. The green waste goes in there, and within a month, it's chewed up and digested by microbes. And this is a model that will be used all over. I'm going to say will. I shouldn't do forward-facing statements, but there is a reason that people are going this way is because in the state of California, cities are required to account for all their green waste. The bill, I believe, is SB 1383. And so what do you do with all that green waste? Well, if you chew it up and you create mulch, fertilizer, and methane, the methane element can be cleaned up and stored in our pipes and used for other uses, and that methane doesn't go in the atmosphere. And it's also a great way for cities to deal with all that green waste that really is kind of a burden to cities that they have to figure out what to do with all of this stuff. So anyway, you are going to see that. You're going to see also capturing more and more methane out of dairies and ranches, where they take the manure, they store it, they put it in a tank, and then they naturally, as it's naturally decomposing, capturing the methane. All right, fun fact. Most of the methane that come out of cows directly do not come out of the back end. They actually come out the front end. And so with cows burping, that's where they get most of that. And this is something you expected to talk about at 8:30 in the morning. Most of the burping from the cow digestion is cause of methane. So the University of California, Davis is actually coming up with a red seaweed cattle feed that reduces the amount of burps by dairy cows. And by doing so, you are reducing methane emissions. Why is this important? Because it just goes to show you that there are different ways to approach tackling greenhouse gases. And this is just one method that is odd, but it's happening. Moving on, because this is an economic development roundtable, people always ask, hey, how do I do business? And this is a very wordy slide. I'll clean it up later. But if you visit SoCalGas.com and type in doing business with SoCalGas, it'll take you to a couple of pages that explains the process. You do have to register. We do have roundtables and events and outreach to different communities to not only increase supplier diversity, but also get you through the steps. In many ways, like being a government contractor, you have some steps that you have to do. We also have some steps that the California Public Utilities Commission requires. So if there's any questions, again, SoCalGas.com/doing business or SoCalGas.com/supplier diversity. And this will lead you through the steps in so that you can do business. Now, you say, well, hey, I'm not a natural gas supplier and I don't supply pipes or fittings. Well, we're a huge company and we need everything from light switches to you name it, paper goods to whatever. And so don't limit yourself. Explore that option. It may be a great opportunity for a little economic growth for your business. And this is just a few more steps that are along the way. Again, in this format, this is a terribly wordy slide. So anyway, you guys, this is my personal contact. I'm available to cities and to residents 24/7. My wife hates that, by the way, but I have a dedicated phone. So if a resident ever has any issues, they can always call my 951-303-5140 number, and I will connect them with SoCalGas. It's a big company and sometimes it's a little daunting, but I put my money where my mouth is. And if you need somebody or if you have a constituent, by all means, either reach out to me or reach out to the 800 number. My wife would prefer you to reach out to the 800 number. And by all means, we want to be accessible to the community. So at this point, I've talked a lot. Let me know if I can answer any questions.
Well, thank you first and foremost, Adam, for that very informative presentation. I learned a lot about SoCalGas this morning, particular with hydrogen. And you had, I'm sure you're familiar with our landscape in the city of Hemet. We're majority made up of small businesses. As a matter of fact, over 97% of our businesses are 0 to 20. Why I bring that up, Adam, is because we always try to find different ways to help our small businesses. So are there any programs or assisting energy tips that you can give to small businesses to lower their bill? What tips do you have for them or any programs?
You can always reach out to our company, and we actually have a business division that can work with particularly restaurants, but large gas users, some gas, there are some companies, Edelbrock, for example, where they're using gas to melt aluminum, or you have a restaurant that's got that stove going all day. But sometimes if there's a question about the stove's reliability, or if there's a question about the equipment, we have a division that will actually look at your business and look for efficiencies. Again, it's doing business with SoCalGas at the SoCalGas website, and then we can make arrangements. You can always call me and I can make that connection, or call our 800 number. But we actually will go out, take a look and see if there's equipment that can be more efficient. And just like with the homes, there are things that you can always do, making sure that your stoves, your water heaters, make sure that your homes, for example, have weather stripping, and making sure that your settings are at the right settings so that you're not, for example, commercial businesses will use boilers, and sometimes your boiler is set too high and you're using more energy than you need. We'll come out and take a look, and we'll take a look for free. So there's always that option.
That's a very good point there, Adam. Thank you for that. I have another question, but before I do, I'd like to open it up to the audience. Does anybody have a question or two for our presenter this morning? Don't be shy. All right, going once, going twice. Sold. Adam, I have another question for you here. In regards to economic development in the city of Hemet, not only is our goal to bring in big and small businesses or even medium sized, but we also want to tackle employment in our city because we do feel it's a nice ecosystem when people are employed with high wages. It's even better for our city. So with that said, and I'd like to ask this question to presenters, what type of career tracks can someone follow in SoCal Gas? I know there's many different positions, maybe in your routes or those that want to be on the front lines. What kind of career tracks and what does someone need to do to obtain those types of employment opportunities?
That's a great question. So whether it's SoCal Gas, SoCal Edison, people or water districts, people tend to overlook their utilities. We're so big that people miss us. And the opportunities in the utility industry are so wide-ranging because whether it's a modernization of a natural gas system, like those automated valves, or it's a smart grid or a smart water system, there are new skill sets needed all the time. Computer science, anything with an engineering degree. I always say the more math you take, the more money you make. And so anything that is engineering related, civil engineering, computer science, electrical engineering, any of that, I was going to say gas flow dynamics. There's always a need for the higher end stuff, especially with engineers. They're usually worth their weight in gold. That doesn't mean that we don't need accountants, bookkeepers, lawyers, sometimes the occasional PR guy. There's a wide range of skills that are needed in the industry. Utilities typically are a much more stable industry. They are typically well-paying and with great benefits and very stable. And so I always recommend when I'm doing a career booth to really take a look. Sorry, these pop-ups. I'm going to stop sharing my screen too, if I can. There we go. I always recommend taking a look at the utilities. Now, for those that aren't necessarily on a college track, you still have skills that honestly we'll train you up. If you have, let's say, mechanical ability, you like getting your hands dirty and getting into the trenches and stuff, we train you up. And so you have to apply socalgas.com/careers, and that'll take you to a third-party thing. I've noticed that with SoCal Gas and their career stuff, you may find the perfect fit for you, but it may not be in the perfect location because we're so big. So that perfect job might end up being in Blythe or in Visalia, may not be close to home. I always recommend really considering taking the job, getting in with SoCal Gas, because people will stay with SoCal Gas for 40 years. Very common. They move around within the company and in different divisions and things like that. And there are lots of benefits for ongoing training and education to keep good employees. But it may not be at the right place at the right time. So you may have to be flexible as far as maybe taking that job in Blythe. But the opportunities in the future will have you moving elsewhere and working with your career as you advance your education. It's not uncommon to find people who started as a meter reader or as somebody sitting on the help desk, moving up into management in a variety of even the most technical project management positions because they've been trained, they've had exposure, they've moved from department to department. And from what I understand, the other utilities, this is the same story. So don't limit yourself. The only thing you should do is explore and, go to the websites, make it a regular thing because jobs pop up and they pop up and then they disappear when they're noticed. So you have to constantly be checking.
Thank you for that, Adam. And I do want to emphasize the thing that you said, utilities being overlooked. I recently went to the EMWD office off the 215 freeway, and I can attest what a beautiful facility. They have not only that, the perks that come with it. You know, they had a gym in there, nice kitchen, a nice hiking trail. Looked like I told the mayor we may have to move out there on the weekends or something. It's such a nice place out there. And Adam, as we conclude here, I do have one last thing, a short little question. What's the goal for SoCal Gas or yourself for 2025? What's left here in the last 8 months of this year? Any goals that you have for, working for SoCal Gas as a government affairs manager or SoCal Gas as a whole?
Well, first off, in my role, we try to support all economic development, whether it's a local economic development council or the PASS Economic Development Alliance and all that. So supporting those goals, supporting education, making sure that people know that there are resources available to them so that their business flows better, it rolls better, and that energy is a part of the consciousness of the business owner, but it doesn't take up too much of their time. They have a business to run. So we want to make sure that we're part of their solution and make sure their life is a little easier. If there's ever a client that or customer that needs some help, my goal is to make sure that we get them warm, safe, and paying an affordable bill. So.
Well, thank you, Adam, for your time for this morning. It's been wonderful talking to you, with listening to your presentation. I know you have many things, but I can first I can attest that you are here for our local cities. I met with you, and you're always very accessible, even if it's a Saturday at 3 a.m. I'm sure you'll respond back. So I do appreciate a round of applause, Adam. Thank you very much for being here. Pleasure, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you. And as we conclude here, thank you, everyone. I do want to be mindful of everyone's time, but I do want to pass it over to the mayor. I know she would like to say a few words on Hemet Beautiful. And coming up, here's Mayor. Any thoughts, comments on Hemet Beautiful this morning?
Okay. First of all, I want to thank Adam for noticing that Hemet is improving. I was going to mention this to a couple of people that I work with at City. I've noticed less shopping carts on our streets, and the police department recently arrested 2 prominent graffiti, I won't call them artists, taggers. So thank you, Adam, for noticing that Hemet is starting to improve. And along with that, we're inviting everybody to come out on Saturday, April 26th, and we are meeting at Hemet West Valley High School, and it's a day of service for community cleanup. And there's all kinds of things that you can sign up for on the City of Hemet website under Hemet Beautiful. And you can help with landscaping, you can help with painting, there's trash pickup. We will find something for you to do on that day. Last year, we brought it back. They quit doing it years ago. And I said, I want to clean up the city and I want to bring in better business. And I think we're on track to do that. We are still looking for volunteers to sign up on that website, and also sponsors. And if somebody wants to sponsor for $1,000, we want that in by Monday, because then you can get your name on the t-shirt and many more benefits that come with that. All the volunteers get a t-shirt, a goodie bag. The fire department will cook us lunch when we get done, and it'll be a great community day of service. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, for that. And I believe also a remote ticket involved as well, Mayor. Did I hear that correctly?
What was that question, Ben?
I was told that maybe if those that attend will be able to get a Ramona Bowl ticket. Is that true?
Yes, yes. In the goodie bag, we're going to have various little coupons and, you know, swag, as you say, the swag. Ben likes to use the word swag. So we're going to have that when you register. You'll get the t-shirt and you'll get a bag. And everybody that attends will get the Ramona Bowl ticket plus some other discount coupons and swag.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Mayor. Morning, actually, I had a mobile reservation. I think I had now for Noli High School. We're going to be doing It's interview skills day, so we're very excited to interview the high school students and preparing them for the future and learning all the great skills they have. And we're going to get that started here fairly shortly. So I do want to thank everyone for joining us. Before we log off, I had mentioned earlier I was going to break some breaking news, and well, I think I'm ready to do the breaking news. About 5 of Hemet submitted an application to receive an award for the Economic Development Strategic Plan. Well, yesterday we received an email that we have been awarded an award of merit, which we presented at the upcoming California Economic Conference. So a big kudos to the city of Hemet. We have now received an award of merit. We are now recognized as a state. There were many applications that we had to compete with all across the state, and the city of Hemet got an award for the Economic Strategic Plan. So it's a testament of what Adam said earlier. We are back. It's only been a year or so that or probably more of this momentum, but it's going to continue. And we look forward to working with all of our partners, because at the end of the day, a city can only be so strong, but when we have partners, it's like chains of steel. So we look forward to continue this relationship, and everyone, on behalf of the city of Hemet, our mayor, our vice mayor, city council, and Mr. Prestwich, our city manager, who could not be here this morning, but sends his regards. Thank you for being here. We'll catch you on the next one. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.